Americans love football. And in football, the last 20 yards before you score is called the red zone. That's where games are won and oftentimes where the biggest mistakes happen. The 10 years right before your retirement is like your financial red zone. That's when the biggest mistakes can happen or the biggest successes can happen with the right financial plan and the right person helping you to implement it. It can be the same money, the same person, but suddenly every mistake turns permanent. There's 3 questions that help you decide how permanent or what that red zone looks like. So the first thing that needs to happen is ask yourself the question, where is my certainty line? Because a lot of people have their money in one specific pot. So you ask yourself the first question, where is the certainty line? A lot of people will have all of their money in one pile. And that's going to be where you have your highest risk and you have your lowest risk and you have your savings and you have your checking, and all of it is just in kind of one pile doing basically the same thing. The thing is, you want to split that pile up. You want to have specific names and specific functions for each of your accounts. A lot of people that want to retire are getting to the age 60 with that huge lump sum of capital, but there's no real direction or what is happening with that money. So the second question that you want to ask is, have you found any tax bomb? Because this is going to be really important as you're getting closer to retirement age. So there's the first bomb, and that's the annuity bomb. And these are taxed as ordinary income. It's not taxed as capital gains. Most people discover this when it's too late and the checks start coming in. That's the last time that you want to learn about how the annuities work. Bomb number 2 is that up to 85% of your Social Security can become taxable once other income stacks on top of it. And that formula is something that you don't want to be a part of. So you want to make sure that your Social Security is intact and is not going to be impacted by some of the other work or other income that you make when you're 60 plus years old. Bomb number 3, and here's one that really hurts a lot of people. It's RMDs, or required minimum distributions. And those start when you're 73 years old. That's forced withdrawals, that's forced taxes. Whether you need it or you don't, that's still money that you have to be accountable for and is going to be taxed accordingly. So there's a hidden opportunity in all of this. And that's the period when your paycheck stops or before your Social Security kicks in. And that's going to be one of the lowest times or the lowest tax periods that you're ever going to come across in the rest of your life. So that's something that you want to be prepared for and take full advantage of. That's when we can talk about Roth conversions and withdrawal sequencing and bracket management. That's when they're the cheapest. So we know the window does close on a schedule, and sometimes it happens not when you're ready for it. So what you'll want to remember is that taxes when you're in retirement are not for just a season. They're your actual life, and there's a countdown associated with it, with those RMDs and different things like that. Question number 3 is going to be, have you actually tested your order of return? Here's a scenario. There's 2 people, they retired on the same day, they made the same amount of money, but they did things in a different order. One of them runs out of money, one of them leaves an estate. Because a bad market year when you're 62 years old is a huge different than the bad market year when you're 42 years old and you still have 18 to 20 more years of working to be able to recover from that. Because at that point, you're actually selling the dip instead of buying the dip. You don't have the capital to recover at that time. I've met a lot of investors in my day that are actually smarter than a lot of advisors that I've met as well. They know about how to accumulate. They know how to grow their income, but oftentimes the taxes are what trips them up, and they don't know what they don't know until it's a little bit too late. And so what they needed was an actual plan and a structure as opposed to a strategy that added income or added growth, but they didn't plan for the taxes that can diminish that growth. So if you're inside 10 years for retirement, every year that you don't have a written red zone plan is condensing your window smaller and smaller. The foundation call with us is going to help you to map yours out super clear. The foundations call with us, where we help you to determine that full financial red zone plan, is going to be a huge factor in your retirement. So book that call with us. We'll walk you through it and help you in these next steps of the rest of your life. Talk to you soon.